Welcome back. We're to preview Sunday afternoon's Premier League match between Queen's Park Rangers and Everton. Pascal, start with the away side. Picked up a really important win against Newcastle last night.
Yeah, massive, wasn't it? First home win in exactly 3 months. Just a huge weight, lifted off Roberto Martinez's shoulders because they're only 3 points above the bottom three after Burnley beat City on Saturday. So it's such a huge win for them, real big boost for them. And you look 6 points now. If Everton had gone down, it would have just been one of the biggest shocks in Premier League history, I think, given the quality in the squad and how well they did last season. There's not that many changes to the squad that were brilliant last season, and look at them now, 6 points above the bottom three. They're looking pretty good there. I think I'd be very surprised if they do get dragged down into it. You look at obviously QPR here; it's a very winnable game for them. But the Newcastle game, I think 3-0 maybe flatters them a little bit. Newcastle weren't great; they're not playing very well at the moment. But Everton, they came through in the end. Obviously, injury time goal from Barkley sort of put the gloss on it. 3-0 always sounds a lot worse than 2-0, I think. But it's still a decent win. Clean sheets obviously a big thing for them. They haven't kept many of those at home. Conceding 2 goals to the likes of Leicester, in recent weeks. But I think it was a much better performance than them, and I think they can start looking up the table now. They're not going to get out of the bottom half. They're too far away from the top half, which is really surprising that they're not a top half side. But a mid-table finish will be fine. And then I'd be very surprised if it goes badly from now on, Martinez could lose his job. But given the job he did last season, they should be fine. For a mid-table finish, and then they can sort of look ahead to next season and try and sort out where they've gone wrong this season.
I think the fact that they've even flirted with relegation this season is very disappointing, isn't it? Last season that they almost finished in the top 4, they pushed Arsenal all the way and really, really battled them. But this season they're sitting 25 points off the top 4, and you're thinking, how has that happened? They've had too many poor results, poor performances, players not really coming to the forefront when they needed. Like you say, Martinez, job's probably safe because, like I say, if they'd have gone down, they probably would have been into about sides that have gone down, probably the best team probably ever that's gone down. You think about the money they spent. They spent 30 million on Lukaku, didn't they? So it's about the money they've spent, and I suspect a few clubs will have poached a lot of their players if they did go down. But it's been a poor season. But overall, that they can build for next season, just knowing that they will stay in the league.
So. I think the Lukaku thing is a massive thing. Obviously, it was 28 million, wasn't it, they spent on him, and he's been up and down. But of late, he's looking back to his best. Very bullish player. Good with his back to goal, good linking up. Obviously, the first goal against Newcastle, he teed it up well for McCarthy, and then he's drilled it in. I think if Lukaku, he should be able to he's still so young. He's sort of been around for quite a while now since he came in. With Chelsea and then West Brom. Since he's been on loan there, but since he actually came to England, I think he's the 4th top scorer. Out of any striker in the Premier League since then. So he has, he is a proven goal scorer, and he's just so young. He's got so many years ahead of him, and just the physicality. He's good at linking up plays. A decent finisher some days. So there's the qualities there for him to really push on and become one of the world's top strikers. I think, considering just how young he is and how many years he's got ahead of him. But he needs to sort of finish the season strongly and then really sort of address the areas. He needs to work hard in the summer, pre-season, to really think, right, how do I make myself one of the best strikers in the league? And I think these sort of qualities are there for him to really push on.
And you'll fancy his chances against QPR defence that have just been, they've been poor all season. Especially it was highlighted last time out against Crystal Palace, where expected to be a tight game, and it was interesting the team selection. Ramsey brought in a few sort of players that haven't really played too much this season, didn't he? Wright Phillips came into the team, and Tarat. I'm a big fan of Tarat. I think he's got a lot of ability, but you just never really know what you're going to get from him, didn't you? And he was probably one of their brighter players on the day. He invented stuff in the final third, and going forward they've got players. Charlie Austin, obviously we know all about him, and defending just so poor. Rio Ferdinand's not got in the team, and Nuhas came in, Clint Hill's been in and out, and Corker hasn't really had a good season, has he? You think about when he was at Spurs, and people talking about him as one of the next sort of England international players, but been poor at Cardiff as well. And the fact they lost 3-0, they went 3-0 down, it was over at half time. Crystal Palace didn't really have to do too much. They were some good wing play, but it was problem. It was all coming down the same side, and to go 3-0 down the second half, they addressed things. And obviously, the highlight of the game was that Matty Phillips goal, which was sensational. Was it probably one of the goals of the season? Probably going to be up there, isn't it, at the end of the season as one of those strikes. But at the end of the day, it doesn't count for anything. If he hits that and it's 0-0 and they get 3 points, it's obviously massively important. But at the end of the day, it's just another goal that's going to be chalked up their away form, which has been awful all season. We spoke about it. So going into this game back at home, where the majority of their points have come from, but just defensively, I don't think they're good enough to stay in the league.
No, the thing is, in their last 4, they've lost 4 games in a row, but they've scored in each of those games, but still lost all of them. So letting in 2 in 3 of them, and 3 against Palace. So, like you say, defensively they've been poor of late. And you look at the table, and it's hard to see them getting out of it at the moment. They're 4 points adrift of safety, and they're second bottom in the table. You look at the teams above the bottom 3. You've got Sunderland there. They've just appointed a new manager, so you'd expect them to improve, given that Advocaat's come in. Villa above them. They're obviously improving massively under Sherwood. And then there's Hull above them. But you think at the moment QPR, they're looking. Leicester, they're are 3 points behind QPR. They look down and out, but at the moment it's hard to see QPR really getting out of it because of the situations of the sides above them in the league. They really need to improve, and against an Everton side here who are improving themselves, it's hard to see them picking up a win here. And it's not long left to the season now, and it's QPR. I just don't know what it is with them. You know, you look at their team and you say, right, they've got a better squad than Villa, they've got a better squad than Burnley, but they're below those teams in the league, and you just wonder why. It's just not quite worked out for them. You just wonder if it's morale. It's not quite sure what it is. You know, good right manager. I don't know if Ramsey will keep his job at the end of the season, but at the moment it looks like they'll be going down again, and yeah, real tough game for them.
Lost 10 of 13 now. You know, it's just not good enough, is it? I mean, they're away from. We talk about it. It doesn't matter how good you are at home, and they've been decent at home. They've lost 6 times, but won 5. You know. Drawn 4. It's not been crazy, you know. Home form, it's been okay, but away form's just been so poor. And this is obviously, I think this is a must-win game. You know, obviously, even if they lose, they're still mathematically possible. Obviously, they're not cut adrift like Leicester are getting, but it's just for morale, I think, more than anything. Can you see them winning this game?
No, I'm gonna have to pick Everton here. I've been impressed with Everton recently. They seem to be turning a bit of a corner. I mentioned Lukaku's performances; he's looking good, and there's a few other players coming to the fore, I think. And I think Everton are going to nick this one 2-1.
Yeah, I actually agree. I think Everton will win. I think, let's say, away from home in the smallish pitch, you know, you fancy Lukaku to just absolutely run riot in the final third, don't you? So I'm actually going to back them as well. I think they'll win 2-0. So you can both see away wins in this one. Thanks for joining us.